Hello, in this video we're going to be going over class variables and alias methods. Real quick, a class variable is just a universal variable that exists between all instances of a class. This means that if I have a dog class with an instance variable, with a class variable, all the dogs will have that variable, and that variable will be constant throughout each instance of a class. So let's say I wanted to keep track of my dogs, and I'll create an instance variable called count, and you do that by typing two @. Initially the count will be 0, but we need to increment the count every time we create a new dog by doing @count plus equals 1, and initialize is spelled wrong, so we fix that, and then we will create a method just to put out our count like that, and then we'll create a dog, dog.new, dog.new, dog.new. Lastly, we'll do dog.new.putCount. I don't know if I went over this in another video, but Ruby does actually use semicolons. You can just say these are like a new line. It's just saying like, oh, we ended the line. So yeah, it's a quick little shortcut. So our count is equal to 4, and that is universal to all of our dogs out there. So let's say I create a dog, x equals dog.new, and I create y equals dog.new. I do x dot put count and y dot put count. It will be the exact same. Count is 2, count is 2. Quick refresher, even though that was only like 2 minutes, a class variable is a variable that is universal to all instances of a class. All right, on to aliases. An alias is just a way of renaming methods. It's actually not renaming, it actually makes a copy of a method. You'll see what I mean right now. So we're going to define a class. It's going to be called foo. Foo is going to have a method hog. Hog is just going to put out hog. And let's say that I wanted to call this method, but I didn't want to rename it in the class function, but I just wanted to call it by a different name. Well, I can use the alias method function to give it a new name and make it callable by a new name. So we'll call the function hog put hog, and then we need to map it to the hog function. So alias method is a function. The first method you take, the first argument it takes is the new method name you want to use, and the last method it takes, the second method, is the original function name. So I can do foo.new.hog, and then I can do foo.new.putHog, and I will get the exact same thing, hog twice. So it is just a way of making a copy of our method through a different name. Say we created a bunch of aliases, and before we call them, we wanted to see if the alias exists. Well, there's actually a way to check which methods your class has. So we can do if x.methods.include hog x.send. So this just helps our program from crashing. So this line won't run if the method doesn't exist. So we can do that. We can just do a put hog. We can pass in something non-existent. And the code will not run. Oh my gosh. I put that in the wrong line. We can do this. If x.include, I must have done it for put hog too. Wow. And it did not run. All right. So aliases our way of making a copy of a method or calling a method by a different name. We can use the methods.include function to see if a method exists, and we just pass that a symbol. I believe it also works with a string. Let me just try this. Puts x.methods. It should work with a string. I think it does. Should get true. False. Okay, so it only works with a symbol and not a string. And if we wanted to list out all the methods, we could just put x.methods. We can see all the methods of there's a ton of them. So we see put hog and hog here. We have yield self, then, untrust, trust, frozen, private methods, public methods, etc., etc. But that's going to be it for this video. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast. Check out my new Dart series. In the next video, we're going to be using class variables and aliases to create an ATM simulator. So I can't wait to see you there. Thank you for coming back to Forey's Corner. I hope you learned something.